Hello and welcome to Daily Record Hotline Live as Wednesday night, I think, in conjunction with our good pals. Now, I must explain here, given a bit of a ticking off, I don't mind holding my hands up to it. Kind of forgot amongst all the excitement at the game last night, Michael, to mention our good friends at NordVPN. So my apologies for that. But they're top guys, aren't they? I guess, Vic, Mick, you're more of a VPL guy than a VPN guy, but if you...
What a VL. No, listen, no, I fully endorse that the NordVPN is absolutely essential in the current modern age of internet security. It's handy for, booking flights when you're abroad and all that stuff. It's absolutely perfect. Check out the
You
links
sounded
below.
sincere there at the start.
Oh, listen, I'm all over it.
It also sounded like a bit of a hostage video.
It's no. Listen, I'm well versed. Check out the links below. There's some good discounts there and all that stuff.
I'm sure that a guy like you, Mick, who knows your way around the internet, would be very much in need of a service like NordVPN.
Absolutely. I'm a man who likes to travel like myself. It's absolutely imperative. Exactly.
Right, good. That's that out the way. Awkward. Anyway, guys, right, see this Artemis 2, forget about it. Forget about the Kennedy Space Centre and trips to the moon and all that, because there's only the countdown's already begun, Michael, to the big relaunch. That's this weekend.
I thought you were going to say I've got a rocket on the show here tonight.
Well, yeah. But this is the one that matters, Mike. We've got through the international schedule. It is now a straight, never mind the race to the moon, it's the race to the line in the SPFL. This is going to be, I think it's going to be epic. Absolutely epic. I think every weekend from here on in, you're going to get thrills, spills, and all the rest of it. Are you excited about it?
I'll tell you what, this weekend in particular is a brilliant way to get back to business, because we've got 3 massive games in the title race, other important matches as well. The great thing is, I think this is an England Cup weekend, isn't it? So yeah. the kind of things like your Sky Telly and all that stuff, the Scottish football is back into the focus. And the last time it was this kind of weekend, it was Celtic's comeback at Kelly and Hearts against Rangers at Ibrox.
And all of England started talking about it. Yeah,
2 absolute belters back to back. You had everyone down the road getting excited by it. I think we could have more of the same, because you've got 3 colossal games in the title race. You've got a chance for Rangers to go top of the table for the first time in, I think, 2 years on Saturday against Dundee United. Yeah, I think it's the first time. No doubt somebody will correct me. I think it's the first time in 2 years they get a chance to go top of the table if they beat Dundee United. Then it's over to Hearts on Sunday at 2 o'clock. They're at Livingston. They're taking 7,000 fans to Livingston. I know it's about 2 minutes down the road from Tynecastle, but still 7,000 fans going there. And then Celtic at 4:30 on Sunday with potentially an 8-point deficit to Hearts. Maybe major pressure at Dens Park. They've already lost. In fact, that's a streak they've lost 3 times on this season.
Well, and also, Mike,
Alfred Nonset, and then last week with Martin O'Neill. So what are we giving?
There's a bit of a bad bit of news for Celtic supporters tonight, which is coming over from the States. Austin Trusty pulled up in the last minute, and I think might have been in injury time. USA lost 2-0 in a friendly against Portugal in Atlanta, and Austin Trusty limped off the pitch after receiving treatment. That's the last thing that Martin O'Neill will be hoping for in terms of Celtic's preparations for the weekend.
Yeah, by all accounts, he played very well in the game as well. I was reading some of the comments. I didn't see the game, obviously.
They were raving about him, mate.
Raving about him, had a good game. That's the kind of game that suits him as well. Kind of not back to the wall, but kind of wee bit under siege at times and having to defend and concentrate. He switched on and concentrating. He's a good defender. The only thing I would say about Celtic is that in his absence, Benjamin Arthur has looked all right. I think he's looked pretty decent, actually. He looks like a player. He's still young and raw, but I think he looks like a guy who is going places in terms of his career. And he does give Celtic a bit of balance in that centre defence.
Yeah, really, but the squad stretch, Mick, the last thing Celtic need is yet another injury, yet another big performer.
Well, this is what I was going to say, because the only thing about Arthur, he's not played an awful lot of top team football and intense football. And it means that Celtic are very, very light. I mean, at times now, it's there's so many players out. I mean, Rojo's missing, obviously the main long-term ones as well. It's another kind of blow for Celtic. He's a player. But I do think if they can get through the weekend, it depends how bad it is, his injury.
Obviously, the first thing is get him off the plane and get him assessed and see if he's going to be ready.
You know, it's like you get a long flight back. It's not easy either. So that's a concern. But it sums up Celtic's season, isn't it? They keep everywhere they go, they seem to hit problems.
Yeah, and it becomes an even bigger problem, as you mentioned, if Hearts go to Livy and get 3 points on, I think it's a 2 p.m. kickoff on Sunday, Michael.
Yeah.
That would stretch their lead over Celtic before kickoff at Dens at 4:30. I think that is. Celtic could be trailing Hearts by 8 points, which is almost unfathomable, isn't it?
I mean, it is. It's. I don't think. I think Martin O'Neill said a few times that there's no wriggle room for Celtic. There's zero wriggle room now after last week, after the defeat at Dundee United a couple weeks ago. They really can't afford it. It's going to be interesting to see them being the ones playing catch up because that's never easy. We've seen it through the years. You're the last team out. There's a lot of pressure on. The results elsewhere falling against you.
Starts cranking up.
But listen, it's also going to be interesting to see how Hearts respond. If Rangers, I think Rangers will win against Dundee United at Ibrox on Saturday. I don't think it'll be straightforward. I think United will make life awkward, but I think Rangers will get the 3 points. They could hit the top, which nobody would have predicted a few months ago. I mean, you think back to kind of the dark days of Russell Martin and getting chased out of grounds, police escorts and all that stuff. To think they'd be top of the league in April would have been unthinkable. But Hearts have been top for since September?
That's ages now, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how they react to get knocked off, if they get knocked off top spot, which I think they might well do. Because then it's back on them to see if they can react. They've been in a situation with no European football where they've been able to put down markers most Saturdays and let the rest of them play catch up. This will be maybe the first time they'll be the ones having to play catch up on the Sunday. So it'll be interesting to see how they react.
Just a few comments, Mix. I know you'll push for time, but Chickarooney's saying that's all we need. I think he's talking about Trusty, but to be honest, the way this season has gone, could have predicted we'd lose someone. He also says Arojo is Celtic's biggest loss. Another one. They are piling up. It just feels. Does this feel almost, Mick, as if it was only a couple of weeks ago you were saying you felt the momentum had shifted in Celtic's favour.
Aye.
It does feel as if this season's almost feeling a little bit doomed.
Yeah, it's got heavy COVID season vibes, hasn't it?
Yeah.
With Celtic, that think it's like they can't do right for doing wrong. Every decision they make, everything seems to go wrong. And then they make one decent signing in January, and he's injured. Marojo is probably the one player they signed probably since the start of the season that's actually looked apart, and he gets crocked. It looks like his season can be finished. The only saving grace, I suppose, is they've got Arthur Johnson, who might not be that far off, but I still think it's going to be after the split before he's back, and it's going to take him time. He's had pretty much most of the season out.
Do you think it's strange that he's back to Canada to do TV work and all that when he's been so long out and he's so close to returning? I must admit, if that was Martin O'Neill, I don't think I'd be delighted about that.
Yeah, you think stay there and do some work behind the scenes and increase your rehab so you're fit. Did seem a bit strange, didn't it? I think his national team wanted to get together and as a kind of team bonding and ahead of the World Cup. So I guess you can't really say no to that, I suppose. But I think listen, he was very polished on TV. I thought he was very good.
He's brilliant. He is brilliant. He's wasted as a football player.
Yeah, see these folk that are multi-talented. I must admit, they make me feel a bit ill. I'm not sure I like this.
Here's one. Skeleton Man says Congreve and Yogan running at that Celtic defence. I think that's a very valid point. Mick, I was discussing about it earlier today. I actually think Dundee are a better side right now with better individuals in it and key positions than Dundee United. And we saw the difficulties Celtic had there. I think that's looking like a real big question for Celtic to answer on Sunday.
Yeah, I was at Dens early in the season. It was when Dundee beat Celtic up in Tayside. Congreve was excellent that day. Really,
good
really
the two of them are really good. I like them.
Yeah, a major threat. That was the afternoon. That was the day when Brendan Rodgers came out with the Honda Civic line. Remember that afternoon?
That's right.
That was after that game when he said he's a Honda. That seems like such a long time ago. It was probably the line
about five seasons ago, didn't it?
It probably would have been the line of the season if it wasn't for so much happened since. But that day gave Dundee, because it had a bit of a dodgy start to the season, and the manager, Stephen Presley, wasn't really welcome with open arms. That result gave them a bit of belief, and since then, I think they have picked up. It's been tough for them at times, but I've always been quite impressed with them in the games against Celtic in particular. They've been excellent. I mean, they get the big boy
Hamilton in midfield. I'm having him.
Yeah,
the two wide boys, as we said, really dangerous. Yogan, that's just a clever bit of business by Big Elvis, isn't it? Being able to bring him up. I think that's a difficult one. Let's just go kick to the chase on this one. Cut to the chase, Mick. Rangers v Dundee United kick us off at 3 p.m. On the Saturday. What's your score prediction?
I think Rangers will have too much. I think United will be awkward. I think Jim Goodwin will set himself up to be really difficult to beat, and it could be a nervous kind of afternoon. But I just think I think Rangers have got the levels in them. I mean, the problem with Rangers is that they can be a bit flaky, so when they're off it, they can be poor and get bogged down against kind of these low blocks. But if they get ahead, they should be all right. I think they'll get there eventually. I think they will get the 3 points. They've got a wee bit of momentum back. I think they'll get the win in the board early.
Of the 3 o'clocks on the Saturday, there's another hugely significant game we haven't even touched on: St Mirren versus Aberdeen.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah,
right. I mean that has got
Robbo derby
jeopardy written all over it, doesn't it? For Aberdeen,
the Robbo 6-pointer, huge, absolutely. I mean, it's so many, and that's a game. Brilliant subplots with the management, obviously, but in terms of the two clubs, I mean, absolutely massive in terms of where they could end up. Aberdeen, I mean, Stephen Robinson in there with Taki to boots, didn't he? In 2 games in, and he let them have it. So they need to respond. It's the Aberdeen, I think, are in big jeopardy. It's they're in bother. So Mirren are having a kind of, I mean, obviously the cup win, so this season's going to be a success no matter what. But they need to be careful. They've kind of switched off a wee bit since. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but they've not been great since the cup final victory. I just think they're a bit more battle hardened and a bit more about them than Aberdeen. Aberdeen just looks easy to play against.
I think Aberdeen are in trouble, Mike. I really do. I remember the season that Hibs got into a tailspin and ended up, dropping out. I think Aberdeen could be that team this season. I think if they can get 3 points in Paisley, they might spare themselves from all the dramas. Lose that one, and it's serious for them.
It's a bogey ground. It's a real bogey ground for Aberdeen in there, and it's. I say Robinson let them have it after 2 games. Like I'm talking about that Hibs season. Never Terry Butcher let them team have it as well early on. And never get a response. It went the other way. So it's interesting to see how they respond to that.
McKenna 40 says Rangers and Hearts to win, Celtic to draw are my predictions for this weekend. So let's move it on to the Sunday. Livy v Hearts, Mick.
I think Hearts will have too much. I think you see Shanklin starting, Cammy Devlin starting now. Livy. I mean, it's funny. Livy games. I've seen quite a bit of Livy this season. They've always been in games and they've been a wee bit unlucky at times, but it just seems they're a wee bit down the dumps and they're heading out the division. So I think their last result would have been the final nail in the coffin for them, and I think the players know that. I'm with you. I think Hearts will win there. I think it's never an easy game at Livy away, is it? So I wouldn't put the kettle on for Hearts to go and romp to a 4-0, but I think they'll get enough to get the 3 points and get over the road. And that moves on then to the game we talked about, Mick, Dundee v Celtic. Tell you what, genuinely, I'm not a big gambling man, as you know, Keith. I'm not a big gambler, but I wouldn't be betting any money in that game. That's for sure. Because
very safe down the middle of the road.
Of course, not a man for punting. I just think that's fraught with danger for Celtic. This Celtic team are not up to much, and these are the games I've struggled in. So Dundee are dangerous, and again you get the pressure of having probably having to react to their 2 rivals winning. Celtic are now on borrowed time in this title race. Really are. They need the win. It needs to be a win. Has to be a win, and I'm not. I wouldn't be sure they're going to get it.
Okay. Right, Mick, other fixtures to look forward to. Canada versus Qatar, Iran versus New Zealand, Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia, Austria versus Jordan, and the DR Congo versus Uzbekistan. Can't wait for this World Cup.
I think it'd be nice if you're going to it, right enough.
Nah.
In terms of the TV, I'm looking forward to watch. I've seen one that was. I want to see the Socceroos against Turkey in their opener, but it's at 5 o'clock in the morning. So back in the day, that's when I used to go home, but not now. I might catch the second half and wake up for my morning visit to the bathroom. The way it's going these days. That could be, I might catch the second half. Yeah, it's this is the bumper World Cup, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously the extra numbers, so you get some.
There's a lot that does mean. And by the way, I'm sure there's someone right now sitting in, I don't know where, Paraguay or something, going, "Oh my God, Scotland versus Haiti."
Yeah,
that's what he missed.
You get some strange. I mean, obviously you've got your kind of Curacao or Caracau, who we still need to find out.
Still not sure.
Still need to where they come. Cape Verde. You've got Italy missing out was a big one, wasn't it? I always think
the problem with Italy, Mick, I've decided what are Italy doing wearing Adidas? That was bound to be a failure. They don't even look. There are some nations that just don't look right in certain kit. Italy wearing Adidas. I'm sorry, I know it's pretty basic, but I just saw the pictures of them looking miserable, and 3 World Cups for without Italy in it. It doesn't.
Not only that, Jacko. Do you know the last time Italy had a knockout game at a World Cup was 2006? So by the next World Cup, it'll be 24 years since they had a knockout tie. If they get to the next World Cup, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, we think we beat ourselves up. They must be going bananas right there.
Oh man, that will be. But hopefully, because we've got half the Serie A is Scottish now, I think that means that the Italians are sort of a Scotland fans for the World Cup as well. Mick, the reason that I bring it all up is that I caught up with a friend, Scott McDermott, earlier on, discussed some of this. Will Trump's World Cup be a disaster or flop, whatever? And I know that you have got other engagements and need to shoot off.
Yeah, I'm off ski, so I'll leave you to it. Weary traveller, a long journey back from Liverpool today, Keith. Anyway,
I know, mate. We both did.
Retired to my quarters.
You managed to let the train take this train. Somebody's having to drive.
You boys ditched me at the side of the road. I had to go and get the train. you get a lift. I'm standing on my thumb at the side of the road, trying to get a lift up the road.
Mick, thanks for joining us. And what we'll do now is we'll go over and catch up with that chat that I had a little bit earlier with Record Sport's Scott McDermott. Scotty, must be about 10 minutes since I last saw you. How you doing?
I'm okay, Jacko. A wee bit tired after our travels, but I'm sure you're even worse.
Because I had to do the driving. As usual, I do the heavy lifting in this relationship.
Aye.
Right, what will...
Company, I keep you on, know what I mean?
You do, you give me the energy, wee man. And see, in this life, there's a great saying. Gordon Strachan once told me, life is there's 2 types of people in life: drains and radiators. Scotty, you're my radiator, son. And it's much you keep my energy high. Right, even when I'm knackered. Now, what we were talking about in the car, which we probably should discuss a little bit further. Now that's us. We're at all the groups for the World Cup are sorted. I think all the teams have qualified. We know what the game schedule looks like. I tell you what, Scott, after all the excitement we get into the World Cup, kind of looking through it going, do we want to watch any of this?
We'll certainly be watching the Scotland games, I hope.
We certainly will.
But, it's funny, we were just, because obviously the playoffs last night, we were talking about, that's the tournament, can I say it? And of course, you're excited about it. Scotland getting there is incredible.
Until you see one of the first games is Canada versus
Bosnia.
No, it's not Bosnia, was it? Was it not Kuwait
Canada.
or something like
that? No, Canada, Bosnia.
Right.
I'm looking at that one.
I look forward to that.
Classic games like, let me see. Curacao v Ivory Coast. You fancy that?
Well, yeah. I'm not a big Ivory Coast fan after last night.
USA v Austria. South Korea v Czech Republic. I mean,
there's a bit of hold me back here.
I don't think we'll be watching every game when we're earlier. Put it that way.
We'll be in transit most of the time, Scotty. So unfortunately, we're going to miss these blockbusters.
You're probably right. So no, but look, it's a result of obviously we know it's a bigger World Cup. It's more teams. What I will say is, I mean, even just since we've got back, obviously catching up on stuff for last night. I mean, the whole. You don't want to say it too much in case Scotland actually benefits for it at some point, and we did benefit over the Euros with the Nations League and stuff like that. But I mean, Sweden getting to the World Cup, brilliant for Graham Potter. He only took over a few months ago at Sweden, but didn't he win a game in their qualifying group for the World Cup? I mean, I think Kosovo had 11 points more than them or something like that in the group stage, and yet Sweden are going to the World Cup and Kosovo aren't. Obviously Kosovo get beat in the playoff. Sweden, basically the only reason Sweden get a playoff is through the back door of the Nations League, which was like 2 years ago. And I even read obviously their Nations League group had some really poor teams in it. You think of like Poland, who missed out last night in the playoffs. Their Nations League group, they were obviously in with us, which was a tough group with Portugal and Croatia. So I don't know if that actual qualification system has to be looked at, because that seems very unfair. But listen, we're not complaining. We're there. We can't wait. Some of the games look dreadful to watch. There's another one. Cape Verde v Saudi Arabia. Fancy that?
No. I hope that's you know how some of the games are going to be 3 a.m. UK time and all. I hope that's one of them.
Congo v Uzbekistan.
It's no great, is it? And top of that, and I know we don't want to mix sport and politics too much, but it's unavoidable with this World Cup. So you've got this guy that's setting half the world on fire at the minute, alienating people. You've got Iran supposed to be playing in America. I think Iraq qualified last night as well, which, I mean, all the ingredients are there.
Fun and games.
And you've got Infantino, of course, who's giving Trump peace prizes. I'm not going to let all that, because it kind of felt like that before the last World Cup. You thought all the stuff around it, all the politics. Yeah. You almost felt as if, I'm not sure that I even want to enjoy watching any of this. But then the football starts and you can't help it. But this doesn't feel great, does it? It doesn't feel great. What's going on in the world right now, the way that Trump is dealing with countries like our own. I just, never mind what he's doing in Iran. It feels as if it might be difficult to get up and running and to actually really get involved in watching the football. And that's what Trump likes. Of course, he likes all the attention on himself. How do you think those two things will marry out, Scott?
I know what you're saying, but I'm trying to be positive about it. Look, we'd be lying if me and you hadn't spoke several times in the last couple of months and you're thinking, God, is this World Cup actually going to go ahead, or what lies in wait for us? The whole Iran thing.
Well, you still, and that's still hanging in the air a little bit, because you just don't know what's going to happen next.
And by the way, what I would say is, see if a lot of these problems, even taking away from politics, you think of even the stuff around the stadium at Scotland I might be playing in Boston, but trying to get, still waiting on licenses to hold games and stuff like that. I mean, see if all this was happening in another country hosting it,
you'd be taking the World Cup off them, wouldn't
you? You'd be saying, look, this can't happen, but because it's America, it's like, oh, everything will be fine. And look, we're praying everything will be fine, and we can go and enjoy it, and Scotland do well. But there is a lot of noise around it that you could do with it if you just want to go and watch and enjoy a football tournament.
Well, I felt there was a sort of bad taste in the mouth before the Qatar World Cup. I have to say, I didn't like anything that was going on around it, and there was a bit of me saying, I'm not sure I want to watch this. But then that's you try to be headstrong. When the football started, it was just sensational, wasn't it? And I'm just hoping that we all get carried away and we can get lost in the football and enjoy the football without having to be distracted by all this stuff. But then this is an American president that as I said, he just loves to be at the centre of attention. Hope he doesn't connect himself with the Scottish national team because he's relations, his mum and all this. We can just send him to the English camp. He can bolt on with them. Him and Infantino.
Yeah, I think he might actually sell on to the Scottish team.
Oh man,
he could interview
Imagine how difficult that's going to make us getting in and out of training if there's the extra layers of security and all this.
I know.
Oh.
It could happen.
Anyway, might as well, Scott. Before I let you go, I know you get stuff to do, but we'll just back up from Merseyside. A 1-0 defeat against Ivory Coast last night. I think you and I are very similar in terms of the opinion that people seem to be a wee bit knee-jerky about these friendlies. I thought the reaction to what I thought was, I don't think that was a terrible Scotland performance last night. Certainly not something that deserved for them to get booed. And that's another thing. I hope that this, because it feels a little bit frosty between Steve Clarke and the fans right now. That needs to sort itself. We need to kind of get that sort of feel-good factor behind us again to get the momentum to get us going into this World Cup.
No, it's incredible to think after that Denmark game in November, the way that panned out, with those goals and the drama at the end, you'd have thought there'd be not a shred of negativity going into this World Cup, given how Scotland got there. So it does feel a bit bizarre. I agree with you. Last night was strange. There was a bit of booing at half-time and then full-time. But by the time Scotland players left the pitch, they were getting a standing ovation and the fans were chanting Scotland.
But that was in the space. Honestly, for those that weren't there, in the space of 30 seconds, final whistle goes, boo, comes for the Tartan Army. Before they've even caught a next breath, they've actually started singing Scotland. They're giving the players a standing ovation. It was schizophrenic behaviour.
It was almost like at full time, it was like autopilot. They thought, well, we need to boo because we've got beat. Do you know what I mean? And then, as you say, 30 seconds, a minute later, when they see the players actually in front of them applauding, they think, oh no, we're proud of them, but no, we suddenly remember they're going to a World Cup. Do you know what I mean? Well, half an hour. We sat last night, watched the Italy penalties. I mean, how do you think the Italians are feeling 3 World Cups in a row? They're not going.
I mean that's a shambles for them.
Honestly, we need to celebrate the fact that we're going. Exactly.
We were just going through some preparatory work last night. That's all that was. There were other countries getting told the world for you is over.
Yep.
You know, the likes of who went out last night?
Denmark went out.
Denmark, right? And they've suffered. They suffered that night at Hampden. Yep. Now a double crushing blow for them. They don't get to go at all. They were top seeds in that qualification group. That's hard. You think about what happened to Wales, to Northern Ireland, to the Republic of Ireland. As you said, Italy. We've got a lot. We shouldn't be tearing ourselves to shreds like this. I'm finding that strange.
I'm the same. And I agree with you. Last night, look, it was a 1-0 defeat. Ivory Coast were, I thought a really good team, a really good counter-attacking team. Strong, physical, powerful. As I say, good in the break. But I thought Scotland, there was a bit of positivity. After the weekend, I was on here calling for a bit more attacking intent, a bit more threat. I felt there was that last night.
We got that last night, Scott. We had more shots in the first 11 minutes last night than we had in the whole 90 against Japan.
First half, the intention was clear right for kick-off. We were going to play a high line. We were going to try and press them high, put them under pressure. Granted, if they get through, we're pressed, then we're up against it. We were putting bodies in the box. Again, you take that risk that if you lose it, you can get caught in the counter, and that happened once or twice. Not too many times, but once or twice. But that's what I was hoping for, just a wee bit more risk to try and create more chances. And I felt as if there was more of an attacking threat.
I agree. I don't know what these fans were watching last night. I was watching a different game. And I think Steve Clarke was quite right when he said that I think that the biggest negative for him from last night was we didn't respond well at losing that goal.
Yeah.
We lost. We stopped doing what we had been doing for about 20 minutes. It wasn't until about the last 10 minutes of the first half that we started to get back onto the front foot. I felt we had a real... I think we got a fright when we lost that goal.
And by the way, that's a starting 11 that you've still to add Hickey, McKenna, Ferguson, McGinn, Doak, Shankland, possibly, all to add to that starting 11. So he had a look at a few things last night. He changed the system. Interesting 3-5-2.
Did you like that, going back to the 5 at the back, or the 3? I thought we looked quite comfortable at the back.
He did. I thought Kieran Tierney played really well last night. He was one of our better performers, playing that left centre-back role. I thought George Hurst gave us something a bit different up front. I thought he's looked quite good the last couple of games. It'll be interesting if Steve Clarke's thinking about that. No, for the World Cup, obviously you always need to have two or three systems. So it gave him a wee chance to experiment. Am I disappointed that we didn't see Lennon Miller or more of Finlay Curtis? 100%. I don't quite get why they didn't.
That was a strange one. I mean, when he took off Billy Gilmore and he sent on Kenny McLean, you're kind of thinking to yourself, what we're learning here. I would have liked to have seen Lennon Miller at least get some game time in the pitch at that point in time.
I think Lennon Miller must be carrying a knock or something, Jacko. There's no way you bring that boy over, surely. I mean, saying that, you could argue the same about Andy Irving. Andy Irving's playing, whatever you think,
right.
He's playing every week at Sparta Prague, and he didn't get a minute on the pitch either over the 2 games, which, as you say, I mean, you're guys like Lewis Ferguson, Kenny McLean, Lyndon Dykes, can I know what they can do? So that's a slight frustration, but I thought overall, two games against really good opposition. There was good points and bad points, but the most important thing, as you touched on, let's not get carried away. Let's not get too upset or too anxious, or just enjoy
these friendlies are there to do the final bit of tweaking and preparation, and we're lucky we're not involved in the do or die playoffs and all this just now. We've actually got these games just to look at some options to see what works, what doesn't work. I don't think it's time to press the panic button, Scott.
Definitely.
Just depending on what Trump's got installed next in the Middle East. Right, wee man, listen, thanks. I'm knackered, you're knackered. I'll let you get up the road, or you're up the road already. I'll let you get on with whatever it is you're getting on with. And I'm sure we'll see you. You're off for a few days, aren't you?
I am.
Well, I'll get you back on as soon as your first day's back.
Right, brilliant. I look forward to it.
Right, wee man, thanks for that. And don't say we're not good to you, because not only have you Mick Gannon and Scott McDermott on tonight's show, just about to give you some Steve Clarke and some Andy Robertson as well.
Just first of all, what was your assessment of the game? What did you take away from tonight?
Another defeat. Never like losing. Don't think we deserve to lose if you put the game into a whole. But I thought we started really well in the game. Really bright, really clever, trying to get forward. I think our system probably caused them a little problem to start with, which obviously they adapted to, but lose a really poor goal on counter-attack. The organisation behind that attack wasn't right. Good teams will punish you. That's what happened. Ivory Coast are a good team. They punished us with a counter-attack. And I thought the reaction to going 1-0 down wasn't good. We lost control of the game when we should have kept control of the game, because we'd started really well, and that's something we have to become better at.
What are the positives you take from tonight going forward?
Second half, I thought we were excellent. We dominated the game. We had more of the ball. We looked a threat. We certainly got a number of balls into the box. We didn't create anything that was particularly clean, but I think that was credit to Ivory Coast. I thought they defended well second half, but I thought we asked them to defend very well, and they did that.
Steve, were you not pretty pleased though overall with the sort of aggression, the intent that the players showed tonight? It seemed like a really positive reaction.
No, the reaction was good. I told the players after the game, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. 2 performances, 2 different systems. Tonight, I felt the start of the game was good because we were on the front foot. I just felt we didn't react very well to the goal, and we have to be better at that. Second half, I thought we were excellent. We got about them. We tried to play on the front foot. By and large, we did. And we just need to find a little bit of quality or a little bit of calmness when you get to the final third of the pitch. And if you do that, the chances will come.
Has it got anything to do at all with the reaction? Because once again, we had it at half-time and then a little bit at full-time. And I don't know what people are looking at and what they're making that assessment on, but can if there is a bit of negativity there, can that creep onto the final third when your guys are needing to keep that bit of composure?
I wouldn't like to think so. And I think the more you speak about it, the more you encourage people to be negative. So I'd rather not talk about it. I thought my team was really positive, and that's what I take out the game.
Steve, obviously you're trying things in these games. Were you encouraged by the shape, and you know, would you be tempted to go with the front two again?
I like the shape. I do like playing with front two. Sometimes it's difficult because I've got so many good midfield players that you're always tempted to try and get them into your side. I've said before, the back five, when we play a back five, is a system that qualified us for 2 tournaments. And then everybody suddenly became really negative about it. When I have the key personnel that I can put on the pitch, the back five, the way we play, is a really good system for us. Whether we play with a back five, 1 striker and two off the top, it's a system that works for us.
What was your thinking with the goalkeeper? Because I think people might have expected Angus Gunn would play again because he's had so little time.
I had a chat with Angus about it. I had a chat with all the goalkeepers. I wanted to give Liam a little bit more international experience. I wanted to give Scott Bain a little bit more international experience. Maybe Craig doesn't make it, maybe Angus doesn't make it. That was the thinking on that. In terms of Angus getting game time, to get game time at the end of March is still a long way away for the tournament. So he's going to train at his club, he's going to work at his club, and come the summer, if he's in the squad, he'll get one of the friendlies.
Steve, what are your main takes from this camp?
That I have a good squad, that we can be competitive against top level national teams, and Japan and Ivory Coast are 2 really good sides, and we showed that we can compete in both games.
Well, if I'm not wrong, I think Japan have beat England 1-0 today as well, so let's be real, we got beat 1-0 off Japan yet, and it was a 0-0 game. We just probably made a mistake, and so they've went and beat England, so it shows that Japan are a good team. Ivory Coast won 4-0 on Saturday, and I think for large parts we were better teams, certainly the second half. So we're playing against really good nations. We're playing against nations that are used to qualifying for World Cups, used to playing in massive games. So the gaffer does this deliberately. The gaffer, we could easily have took 2 easy games where you win 4-0, and but we want to test ourselves. We want to play against different teams. We want to challenge ourselves, and that's why we've took these games, and we've learnt a lot about ourselves this week. So I think we've took a lot of positives. Real tough work on the training ground. 2 tough games and a lot of positives to take, stuff to work on, of course, but we've never said we're the finished article, and everything's just working towards the summer, and we'll be ready when it comes.
There was a bit of booing at the end of today's game as well. Is that tough to hear?
I just think it's now set into. I think it's now just setting. If we don't, get the result, then we just get booed. But what I will say is 95% of the fans drowned it out very quickly. So it's a small minority. It was a small minority at Hampden on Saturday, and it was a small minority today. And I think everyone behind that goal today, when we were clapping, was fans that were appreciative of what they've seen, appreciative of the team that have took them to a World Cup, and the reception at the end was unbelievable. So it's only a few people. Now, I don't know whether it's just, they just want to boo for the sake of it or whatever, because for me that's not a booing performance. That was a performance that, okay, we got beat, and I hate getting beat, but there was a lot of positives to take. It wasn't from a want to try, and we played some really good stuff, especially second half. And I think a lot of people seen that, and I think that's why the reception was so good when we were doing our lap of thanks.
Andy Robertson there, and I happen to agree with a lot of what the Scotland captain just said. Anyway, that's it. That's your lot for tonight. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thanks for joining us. I'm kind of sat here on my own, and I don't really want to go into a monologue. So all that remains for me to say is thanks very much for joining us. Come back tomorrow at 6 p.m, because then we can really get our teeth into what's about to come this weekend, as we re-engage with what has been an absolutely sensational title fight, 3-way title fight, which continues and will continue again. So 6 p.m. tomorrow, we'll be back with our friends from NordVPL or VPN, and we'll hopefully see you all then. Cheers. Good night, folks.